welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video. I am refilming this video because I lost my footage. It got corrupted or something the first time I filmed this video, but today I'm going to be sharing my top 3 in every category with you guys. I'm finally doing this video that was inspired by Julia Adams. I will have her channel and her video linked down below, and I thought it would be fun to do this video seasonally. So today I have my top 3 products in every category for the summertime specifically, not necessarily like my tippity top favorites of all time. I started to do my ranking my entire makeup collection series category by category, and I only made it through primer before I fell way behind on my filming schedule, but I will be continuing that series on. So it's not going to be like my tippity top ranked product or top 3 products for that series. It's my top 3 for the summer. I hope that this is making sense. In my mind it makes sense. Sometimes I just don't verbally express these things to perfection. But if you guys are interested in seeing my top 3 products for the summertime in all of the makeup categories that I use every single day, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project planning content, or you just like to chit chat about makeup, I would love if you would consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. Okay, you guys, I have had my makeup on for at least like 7 hours at this point, and I was wearing the Ilias like skin tint super serum whatever, which just isn't the most long lasting to begin with. So my makeup might be looking not the freshest, but what is life? We don't really care. We are just gonna sip our cold brew and move on. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna go in order that I would do my face. Usually I do eyes first, but we'll save eyeshadow palettes for last. But other than that, we'll go in order that I would do my face. So up first, we have the primer category, and the first, probably most used primer of the summer for me is the Urban Decay All Nighter Ultra Glow Face Primer. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of just the original Urban Decay All Nighter gripping primer. I think both are great gripping primers. This one does offer a bit of a glow to the skin. However, the only reason I would reach for this one over the original would be for the glow, but I only reach for this primer when I'm putting makeup on top, and I don't necessarily feel like the glow shines through most makeup. Sometimes when I'm wearing like a skin serum or a skin tint, yes, but I probably prefer the original, but I thought I would include the glow for the summer because we all love to glow in the summer. This is a really, really nice primer, a great gripping primer. I will always own at least this or the original gripping primer in my collection. I think it's a great primer, highly recommend. Then you guys know I've been raving about this one this year. This is the Milani Chill Out Soothing Primer Wild Oat Extract with Ceramides. This is an amazing primer, one, because it has a bit of a cooling sensation, which I love for the summertime, like when it's just like roasty, toasty, hot out, and then you put on this primer and it has just that cooling sensation. Love it. But on top of that, this has a really nice smoothing, like a nice smoothing component to it. I wasn't expecting this to be like a pore filling or smoothing primer, but it really does smooth out my base for like the rest of my makeup, and I'm just such a fan of this primer. I've been raving about this one all year long. And then this one is just a tried and true favorite. This has been one of my go-to summer primers since I was introduced to this product probably 3 to 4 years ago at this point. This is the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothing Priming Moisturizer. I love this one. It smells like coconuts, which just makes me think of the summer and warm weather, and it is a really beautiful glowy primer. Could not recommend that one enough. Okay, moving on to foundation. I feel like my foundation, my picks might shock some of you because 2 of these I have not yet even reviewed on my channel, but I've been loving them. So let's start with the one that I have been using for at least a year, if not 2 years at this point. It's my Dior Forever Skin Glow. I love the Dior foundations. They're some of my absolute favorites, and I love the Skin Glow for the summer because it offers just that beautiful radiance to the skin that kind of makes you look like you've been out in the summer heat without being like too much. I'm a huge fan of this. I think it's so beautiful. This is something I wear when I want something to last longer, or if I want like something, I don't want to say fancier, but like if we're going out to dinner, like a date night, I reach for this one quite a bit. You guys, I've been loving this foundation since I started trying this. This is the NYX Born to Glow foundation. I don't know why I waited so long to pick this up. I feel like I just was super hesitant for whatever reason to purchase this foundation. but I love this. This is so beautiful. It gives a very natural skin-like finish to the skin while still offering a good like medium coverage. And I just think it's super pretty. Definitely a top foundation so far that I've tried this year. All right, my third and final favorite summer foundation, skin tint, whatever you want to call it. I'm so excited that I love this as much as I do, because when I tell you guys the brand, you're gonna be like, oh yep, I've been raving about this brand and I'm glad I have another hit from them. This is the Nabla Skin Realist Beautifying Tinted Balm. I was uneasy about this because sometimes skin tints are so hit and miss and they just offer like so little coverage that I'm like, nope, this like doesn't work for me. They'll sink into like your forehead wrinkles, whatever it might be. This is so beautiful. This offers such a natural radiance to the skin, again, without being too much, but offers a beautiful light to medium coverage. It is a good amount of coverage for being like a tinted balm. I think it's just so good. I'm so happy with this. This is absolutely going to be a replace and repurchase when I finish this, and I have already been and will continue to reach for this the rest of the summer. I feel like concealers I just don't get super excited about, but I kind of am excited about my picks. So up first, I have my Kosas concealer. This I love because it is hydrating and I love a hydrated under eye, but it still offers a good amount of coverage. So for the summertime, I just think this is, when I'm reaching for a higher coverage concealer, this is the one I'm reaching for. I don't have a great shade match for me, and to be honest with you, I won't replace this, I've mentioned many times, because my lid broke. I've heard other people have had issues with their caps breaking, and I don't want to deal with the mess of this again, but I think it's a beautiful formula for the summer. So if you're willing to risk your cap breaking, that's one I do reach for all the time. Also, the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, the satin finish. This is so pretty. Again, very full coverage underneath the eyes, but I do love the more like satin, not totally matte finish. It's not drying underneath the eyes, and I just think it's so beautiful. I was really impressed by this, especially considering that I was not a fan of the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. So that's been a favorite of mine for a while now. And then also the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer is my third pick. And this is something that's so sheer that on the summer days that I'm just going in with my Drunk Elephant Debronzy serum to like match my face to my body, I'll go in with just a little bit of this underneath the eyes just to brighten it up and add a little bit of brightness underneath my eyes. When I use the Debronzy serum, sometimes it just makes my whole face look flat because it's all the same color. So I'll go in with a little bit of this just to add a little bit of dimension and a little bit of brightness underneath the eyes. And I also just love this because I got this from Kelly Gooch, but she talks about this as like the magic makeup eraser, where if I make a mistake or if I want to clean up my eyeshadow, this is perfect for that. So I've been a huge fan of this. This is something like seasonally, I think every season I'll love having this, but definitely wanted to mention this as a nice sheer coverage concealer for the summer as well. Okay, for bronzer, I have 1 cream and 2 powders. I love to layer my cream and powder products. Like I like to do a cream bronzer and then layer it with a powder, but I did want to keep everything to just 3, and I didn't want to do like 3 cream bronzers and 3 powder bronzers. So for my cream bronzer recommendation for the summer, I actually have the new NARS cream bronzer. I have mine in the shade Laguna. There is 1 shade deeper, and why I love this bronzer specifically is because you can really sheer the coverage out on this, or you can build this up. This is very pigmented, so there was a little bit of a learning curve for me. The first time I used this, I went in with way too much product, but I have learned how to kind of manipulate this to sheer it out if I want a lighter bronze, or if I'm super, super dark, I can make this match me by just building up the pigment. This is very, very blendable, so it's very beginner friendly too, in my opinion, which is another reason I wanted to recommend this one. And then for my 2 powder bronzers, I rave about this one all the time when I'm talking about favorite bronzers, but the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer, I have mine in the shade 2. I love this because it's super buildable, but also such a soft formula that it doesn't look heavy as you build up to like whatever shade you want to be. And I just think it's such a beautiful bronzer. It's been a favorite of mine since I purchased this last year. Very expensive. Wish I could say that it wasn't a favorite, but it definitely is. And then for my third bronzer, I have the Vesca bronzer in the shade Kissed by Santorini. This is a soft matte bronzer, and I love this formula as well. It's just super buttery and smooth and soft. It's just doesn't feel as heavy as some other bronzer formulas. Again, very buildable. You can sheer this out to be pretty sheer, or you can build up the pigment and it doesn't end up looking like crazy as you build this up. I also love that Vesca, I believe, offers 7 bronzer shades in their line. So definitely a good one, definitely one to check out. Okay, blush was super tough for me, and I just realized I didn't grab any cream blushes. I only grabbed powder blushes. This is tough because I just did my makeup inventory and I have like half cream blush to half powder blush. I was so surprised. I have basically the same amount of cream blush as I do powder blush. But I only have powder blushes to recommend, and I like honestly don't feel like I could... I'm just gonna go with the 3 that I have. I'm gonna do like a cream blush or cream product ranking video upcoming, so just stay tuned for that if you want to know my cream product recommendations for the blush category. But I have 2 shimmery blushes and 1 matte blush. I've definitely been into, even like winter slash spring of this year, I was more into like a satin or a glowy cheek rather than an all matte cheek. But for my matte blush, I have the Lawless Angel Suede blush. I've been such a fan of this since I picked this up during this year's Sephora VIB sale. It is so beautiful, and it's not as pigmented as I was originally anticipating. I was worried that this was just going to be so pigmented that it was going to be hard to work with, and actually I would almost consider this, so it's a velvet blush, I almost would consider this like a velvet matte finish where it's not like totally flat, but it has almost like a satin sheen to it. It's so beautiful. I love this shade, and I love to layer this with this blush right here, which is the Nabla Skin Glazing in the shade Truth. You guys know I've been raving about the Nabla Skin Glazings all year on my channel. I swear every year there's like a product that I just cannot shut up about. In the past, it's been the First Aid Beauty Primers. What else? There's something last year that, oh, like the Buxom Seychelles blush, always. And this year, it's been the Nabla Skin Glazings, and pretty much every Nabla product I have not shut up about. But I absolutely adore this formula as well as this shade. Again, you can sheer this out, so it doesn't have to be as intense as that swatches, and it's just so freaking beautiful. If you are looking for just the most beautiful baked product for your face, check out the Nabla Skin Glazings, whether it be the bronzer, the blush tones, the highlights. I'm such a huge fan. And then my third recommendation is the Bare Minerals bronzer. I have mine in the shade Kiss of Copper. This is another item I picked up during the Sephora VIB sale that I have not been able to put down. Like, I'm obsessed. So I use this just as a blush. I don't try and use this as like an actual blush bronzer hybrid. There it is right there. It's just, it really does give just like this coppery bronzy flush to the cheeks, and I'm all about just like a bronze everything, but I still love my blush. Like I used to in the past be like, yep, bronzer over blush any day, and now I'm like, I don't know, but I love a bronzy look, including a bronze tone blush. So this has just been chef's kiss. I know everyone's complaining about the packaging. It is cheap packaging, but what is life? Still love it. Just realized I forgot to talk about powder. So I have 2 pressed powders and a loose powder that I have been reaching for a lot this summer. So my favorite powder, my favorite loose powder of all time, especially for the summer, is my Glossier Wowder. If you are oily, I don't think this is going to be heavy enough for you, but if you're a dry skin girl like myself, this is amazing because it's super lightweight, does not make the face look heavy or cakey, but still does a really nice job of just setting the face. I have mine in the shade G11-12. I would consider picking this up in a shade up as well for the summer going forward. I have about half of this left. This is my second jar of this, and this will absolutely be a repurchase when I finish that. I had been reaching for my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder a ton. Spoiler alert, recently finished that. So I'm including my number 7, which is basically a dupe for it. I do want to get this in a shade up as well, but I don't want to overwhelm my makeup inventory collection. I would like to just use my powders. So as I continue to just self tan more, it's been a journey trying to figure out shades with foundations, concealers, powders, because I've always been the fairest of the fair, so I just naturally just buy the lightest of everything, and now I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna keep self-tanning all year round, this is not gonna work for me. But I love the number 7 powder. Super smooth, super soft, super buttery. just sets the makeup beautifully. And then the Dior Powder No Powder. I have not yet reviewed this on my channel, but Samantha March definitely made me buy this, and you guys, it was worth every penny. This is so beautiful. I have mine in the shade Neutral. It looks really dark in the pan, but on the face it works really well for me to set my whole face. It does have like a blurring property to it, and it just looks so beautiful. It like blurs your skin without making it look like you added any powder at all. It's so good. I don't know what kind of like magic hocus pocus is in this, but it is worth it. All right, we are moving on to highlight. I do have a cream highlight option, and then I have 2 powder highlights. So starting with my cream, it has to be my RMS Beauty Quad. This is another product last year that after I purchased this, I was raving about this so much. I mean, could you tell that I love this? Do you see that ginormous pan? I am going to try to pan every single shade in this palette this year, and then I will repurchase this specific shade, which is in a Champagne Rosé, my favorite of all of the quad shades. I hope that's not specific just to this quad. I don't think it is, but I think that these are beautiful. They're really sheer, but you can kind of build up the intensity, so it just makes your cheeks look wet, and it looks super natural, and I love it so much. So that would be my favorite summer cream highlight option. And then for my 2 powder highlights, I had to give, even though you can't get this anymore, I'm so sorry, I couldn't give it to any other highlight for like a yellow champagne highlight shade. It's the ABH Amrezy. It's so beautiful. This remains a favorite highlight in my collection. It's such a nice baked formula as well that it looks so good on the cheeks. But if you're looking for an alternative to this, I would recommend the Nabla Skin Glazing in whatever shade works best for you. Ozone is a little bit icier than this, but I love Ozone as well, so just trying to give you an option since this one is no longer available, but I had to give this a shout out. And then this will also soon be no longer, but I couldn't deny that this is one of my favorites, especially for the summer. This is Becca Rose Quartz. I love a good pink toned highlight, and this one is not as icy as every other pink highlight that I own in my collection. It adds a little bit of warmth to the cheek, which I just have been loving. Almost like a blush topper sort of highlight. I just love it, and this has been a favorite for a while. I would love to see if I could finish this highlight this year. Not sure that would be possible, but if it was, I would be so proud of myself. For setting sprays, I had to include my Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist, specifically for the summer season. Even though summer brings on sweat for many of us, and that just offers a glow in and of itself, I love having this if my foundation is just not looking as glowy as I would like, and I just add a few spritzes of this. This is one you can go too heavy with and end up looking just super greasy in my opinion, but a couple sprays of this on like a super matte foundation really has saved the day for me. MAC Fix Plus is just an absolute necessity for me in the summer. Sometimes we're putting a lot of powder on in the summer so that I can keep my makeup locked in through all the summer heat. It's like either very minimal makeup for the summer, or it's like I'm loading on the powder in hopes that it will just make it through the day. So I love having MAC Fix Plus on hand just to use throughout my makeup application process as I'm adding lots of powders, because this just does such an amazing job at melting the powders. This is just such a staple, tried and true. And then the Urban Decay All Nighter Ultra Glow. This adds just the slightest hint of a glow, but reminds me so much of the Urban Decay All Nighter. This I think is something I will purchase in the future as opposed to the actual All Nighter, because I do like that this adds just the slightest hint of luminosity. I've never noticed that I've gone too heavy handed with this, and I've sprayed a lot of this in one spritzing, if you will. I have not yet reviewed this on my channel either, but I feel like I've used like half of this already. I go ham with my setting sprays. Okay, let's move on to mascara, or should we do brows? All right, let's do brows really quickly. Usually I do either the Glossier Boy Brow, which is just my favorite like tinted brow gel that I've found thus far. It's so good. I use this so often in the summer. Again, if I'm doing just like a glowy primer on my face or the Drunk Elephant, whatever, I will run this through my brows, and it just makes me feel like I look a little bit more put together. I also have my ABH Clear Brow Gel. I love to lock my brows into place. I do that almost every day. Mine's so messy. I took my stopper out to try and use my entire thing up, and it's so messy right now. I don't know that I would take a stopper out of a brow gel in the future. And then the third product I wanted to recommend for the summer is the Patrick Ta, like basically soap brow product. This is the shaping wax, and I have the tinted version. This is something that I have been using more recently, and I like to use this to like shape my brows, and then I've been filling in with a pencil. I've been trying to steer away from my brow powders so that I can try and use up some of my brow products or just experiment with different brow products, and I've really been enjoying this one for the summer. I also feel like this is one that if you don't want to do like a full beat brow, I don't even know if that's a word. I'm such a good beauty YouTuber. But if you don't want to do like a full baddie brow, is that what it is? And you just want to add some shape and definition, a soap brow is a great option. Okay, for mascara, I am just trying to get through my makeup inventory of mascara, so I have not specifically like gone out to purchase these for the summer, but I wanted to share the 3 that I currently have open in my collection. So I have the Nabla Major Pleasure Mascara, which I've really been enjoying. Originally, this was more of a wet formula, so I've enjoyed this more and more as it's dried out. This is what the wand looks like, and I feel like this is amazing for volume, and I've really, really been enjoying this one. I was gonna say, I would... Oh, I love my Ilia so much. What else? I love the Urban Decay, the green one with the weird... Would I repurchase this? I think it's a good mascara, but I don't know that I would repurchase this because I have other high-end mascaras that if I were actually purchasing my own mascara, I think I would purchase over this, but I still think this is good. My Milk Makeup Kush Waterproof Mascara. I love the Milk Kush Mascara, and the waterproof is perfect for the summer on days that I'm going to the beach or going to be out for a long time. I have a lot of issues with mascara and transfer in general, so I love to have a good waterproof mascara on hand. And then this is, I think, very old. I don't know how this came into my collection, but like I said, I'm trying to get through my mascara inventory. And this is the Lorac Royal Treatment Primer and Mascara Duo. When I first started using this, I was like, this is not for me. I'm going to throw this away. But I've actually really been enjoying this. So on the one end, you have a mascara primer, which is the blue end. And this does a really nice job of just separating the lashes. And then on the other hand, you have the mascara. This is the shape. It's more of like a triangular shape. And this does a really nice job of just separating and lengthening the lashes. So I really like pairing this with the Nabla, which gives me, the Nabla gives me the volume. And this has been like the perfect trifecta. I've really been enjoying this mascara combination. So those are the 3 mascaras currently open in my stash. For lips, you guys know I have been raving about the Lawless Forget the Filler. It's another product you'll probably hear me just drone on and on and on about all year long. So I started with the original, was such a huge fan. I'm like halfway through the original, I swear, if I were to like actually sit this straight. I had to pick up the other 2. I've really enjoyed Daisy Pink for the summer. It's such a beautiful, just like sheer baby pink. And then I also have, what is this one? Velvet, which I think is gonna be so pretty for the fall. It's like, I don't know if you would consider this like a wine shade or like a magenta. This, so it's supposed to be a plumping gloss. Here is Velvet right there. Really pretty. It's supposed to be a plumping gloss. I would not say that it like hurts the lips at all. There might be like a slight minty feeling, but it's not painful on the lips at all, and it's just so juicy and glossy. It really makes the lips shine, which gives not even like a plumped up effect, but just makes your lips look really full. And then I also feel like it does a nice job of just smoothing my lips out. Sometimes I feel like I have really raisiny lips. Like it looks like all of my hydration has been sucked out of my lips, and this does a really nice job of making my lips just look and feel like more seamless and smooth. The Fenty Gloss Bomb, always a favorite. My favorite right now is Sweet Mouth. This has been my favorite for a little bit, and I think this is such a pretty one for the summer as well, just because it has almost like a hint of pink to it, but it's like just this really beautiful nude pink gloss. Obviously everything's shade-wise is going to be personal preference, but you guys know I love the Fenty Gloss Bomb. And then I also had to talk about my favorite lipstick of all time, the Tarte, what are these? Color Splash? Yes, Color Splash in Rum Punch. This is all I have left. You guys know I love Rum Punch. It's my favorite lipstick of all time, favorite color. For some reason, I do reach for this more in the summertime, but I also just reach for this all year round. This is a shade, when I finish this, I will absolutely repurchase. All right, we're gonna wrap it up with eyes. I just have 3 palettes. And this was so tough because I have such a large eyeshadow palette collection. There's a lot that I've really been enjoying for the summer. But if I truly could only choose 3, I'm hoping I included all 3 of these in my summer palette rotation video, which will be going up, I think, after this. But the Natasha Denona Mini Nude, I have reached for this so much. Every time we've gone out for a date night this summer, this is the palette I've reached for just because it's so easy. But you can get such a sultry, beautiful looking eye. And then also if I'm running out the door for the summer, like, or during the summer, this is such a perfect just one and done shade in the crease. Next up, I have my Kaleidos Futurism 7. This is the Sashimi City palette. I just love this. I love the 2 like duochrome or multi-chrome, whatever you want to call them, lid topper shades. And then I also really like the mix of mattes. Formula is 10 out of 10 in terms of quality, and this is a staple for me in the summer. I've already reached for that so much, and then I couldn't not mention my BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette. This is just such a summertime staple. This looks like summer when I look at it. I used to be a festival girl. I talk about this all the time, and this just reminds me of like EDC, or what's the one that everyone goes to, Coachella, whatever it is, which happens in the summer. So I had to mention this. I personally, my favorite go-to summer look out of this palette is using the shade Escape, Hipster, and Boho. I love this shade Boho. Obviously I have a couple pans in here, and then Trixie in the inner corner, and you're good to go. But after that is gonna wrap it up for my top 3 in every category. I may have missed some, and that's okay. If there's like, there might be a makeup category that I just really don't indulge in all that often. But I would love to know in the comments, what is your top pick, even maybe just one pick for each category, or just your top products from the summer. I would love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.